Welcome to another edition of the Roundtable. Thanks for listening to us on the Broadway Podcast Network, or you're watching us right here on our virtual talk show. And I love directors. I need advice because I'm directing right now for the New Jersey Performing Arts Center. I have 26 16-year-old girls, sweet baby Jesus, in our very unique version of Mean Girls. I need all of Will's advice. Will is going to the West End. Will is directing off Broadway. Will is everyone that's cool and hip and neat and putting out albums with all these amazing artists on them that come on our show. Will Nunziata, and he's got to be a good Italian boy. He has to be because he's got that last name. We're going to find out everything. I need to know everything from social security number to address to the whole story. Will Nunziata. Welcome to the show. We're ready. The deep dive is in, Will.
Oh, we're going in today, Robert.
We're going to go in. Will, I mean that about your work as a director. Let me ask you, was directing what you originally wanted to do?
That's a great question. Is this therapy, Robert?
I think I'm going to ask you.
I'll Venmo you later.
We take insurance.
You know what? I'll answer this. When I was younger and I started singing professionally with my twin brother, Anthony, I always knew, to quote a line from Sweet Charity, I always knew in my gut, in my heart, there's got to be something better than this. And better not meaning like I wasn't grateful to be making money singing. I mean, I loved it. And I always, though, was in love with talent since I was very young. But I'll never forget going to see, now I'm dating myself, the revival of Showboat that Hal Prince directed in the mid-90s at the Gershwin Theater. And I remember being fascinated with how everything interwove with one another, how everything danced with one another, whether it be the costumes and the set and the sound design and the actors, and that yet there was this epic socio-political landscape with these intimates. There was just something about it at 9 years old that I was like, who puts that all together? And I didn't know the name. So believe it or not, Robert, that's the short answer.
No, that's perfect answer. And I've dated myself because I remember it. I was, growing up here in yes, we are people of a certain age. And where did you grow up, Will?
We grew up, so we probably grew up probably similar. So here's the city. You probably were here in Jersey. Yes. I was born in Brooklyn, but raised in Pelham Manor in Westchester, 30 minutes outside the city. How far outside the city were you?
I was in Richfield Park, New Jersey, so maybe 15 minutes. So it's the same thing. It's the same. And is your family, are you an Italian? Is that your nationality?
Yes. Nunziata comes from my mom's side. My God. Well, she seems Italian. My dad's side, and my mom's side is German, Irish, and a little French. So definitely my dad's side.
See, and my mom is Rose DiMeglio, so my mom is all Italian, and my dad is Irish and Czech, hence the Bannon last name. But my mom is Italian. So I get you already. We were born in the same era. We are both in the suburbs of New York City, and we have these good little Italian, Irish, etc. families. When did you have a twin brother? And I made the mistake in an interview with White Rose, and I called you Anthony because I just have known the two of you and that your careers in singing and how you both have worked in the business. How was the transition from working with him and singing and creating an act to now being Will that is doing all of this other creative work? Was that on purpose? Was it something that took time? When did you say, I'm moving on? I got shows to direct and things to do?
It was tough. I mean, it was tough. Bottom line, we were at the height of our career. We co-headlined Carnegie Hall with the New York Pops, Christmas of 2016. And I know this sounds woo-woo, but although that was always a goal of mine as a performer, I just always wanted to thank my teachers and my parents from that stage. And when that happened, I felt like this release a little bit. And but it really kind of just began. And now my dogs are getting excited. Do you hear them?
My dog is barking in the background. So we're
I'm
all.
so sorry. I have two Malteses, Bella and Vincent. They just want to be a part of it, New York, New York. Wait, here's Vincent. He got his hair cut. It's a little too short, but that's okay. He doesn't mind.
Beauty! Oh, Vincent!
After Vincent Van Gogh, he's got both ears though. Anyway, okay. Bella she's a diva by the door. Okay, where were we? I'm going in circles here. So
Carnegie Hall, and you felt a release.
yeah, it was a release, but I have to put out there though, when I assisted directed 110 in the Shade out of college, after I graduated Boston College, I got to assist Lonnie Price. And Lonnie, being a former performer turned director, has always been such a North Star for me. And I learned from that 110 in the Shade experience that as an assistant, I was a really bad one. Sorry, Lonnie. And it was probably from that I realized in my gut, you know what, Will? Continue to do the thing with your brother, because there is something here in that, something that I felt like I needed to give. But I learned so much, Robert. And I tell this to kids when I do master classes. One of the most favorite things I love to do, most favorite, that was English, is no matter where life takes you, really try and be in the moment, because you never know when you're going to be picking up these tools to put in your tool belt. And if I hadn't had that really long, 20-year career with my brother, I got to work in some of our biggest symphony halls and performing arts centers. And I don't say this to brag, but I used it as an opportunity to fine tune my tools. I was talking with the tech people. I was running our techs. I was writing our scripts. I was directing our shows. I was talking to the musicians. And now when I'm in rehearsal or in a recording studio, it's like, oh my gosh, these tools in my tool belt, who would have ever thunk?
Every piece of the journey somehow makes sense as it continues on. And when you look at your career and what you've done, if it's film, if it's television, if it's writing and screenplays, when you break it down, you have really put your hand in if it's screen, all of the aspects of this business. And then you tie it all together. You had two projects going on literally at the same, big projects, not 1776 at the Leonia Players Guild down the block. And no shade to them, but like, Will, you're putting out a cast album with people that are Broadway superstars, and then you're putting out that's going to the West End or going to England, and then you're doing a show here in New York City, and you're doing I'm sure there's a whole litany of other things that you're tinkering and working on. How do you manage all of the do you keep a set schedule? Are you just not sleeping? Like, what is the secret? Are you a vampire, Will? What's the secret?
A little bit of everything you just said. I'm just kidding. Thank God I'm organized, but a lot of these projects I procured during the pandemic, and they've just been these little steps forward. And it just so happens that Beautiful White Rose was a project I came on board as the director of about 2 years ago. And Figaro, an original musical, was one that I co-wrote with our incredible composer, lyricist, Ashley Jana, over the pandemic. And they all have just been kind of these, oh, look at that, our beautiful cover.
Yes.
Shout out to Bob King Creative over in the West End. They are, I always had this image, Ashley and I always had this image, because look at Figaro, let's start with Figaro. Figaro, a lot of people think, oh, is it based upon the opera, Barbara Seville? And actually it isn't. It was the name of our leading man that we just fell in love with. There was something showman about it. There was something flamboyant about it. And, but being a son of a father who's been in advertising for 50 years, I was like, okay, what's going to be our phantom mask that when people see it, they can be like, oh, that's not based upon the opera. This is something new. And because it's actually based upon an original concept and idea, nothing to do with the opera, and actually has Sienna, our leading lady, who is front and center. I always wanted with Ashley this idea of kind of someone who has been blinded literally and figuratively her whole life and needs to meet someone to kind of show her the mirror, but then is not only able to take off the blindfold herself, but is someone who's kind of able to step in to her own bliss. And so this notion of the red blindfold, and that also plays an important part in our story, was born. And the experience in London, Robert, it came about in such a beautiful, as Jewish people would say, beshert. It was such a fate moment. And I love that word beshert, because it was totally that type of moment with these beautiful general managers at Carter Dixon McGill, that Van Deen, my dear friend and oft collaborator on many projects now. We were able to kind of all get together and work toward this West End debut later in the beginning of 2025.
It's crazy that you are going to direct this show that you co-wrote over on the West End. The album, which is out now, you could stream it wherever music is available. You can go to figaromusical.com and you can get all the scoop and information if you want to know about. And the album, like I said, if it's Mauricio Martinez, if it's T. Oliver Reed, if it's Benjamin's, they've all been on our show. They all have talent out the wazoo, and we are big fans of all of the work that they have all done. And when you look at the artwork and when you listen to I was listening to some music today, when we need original work that's done for theater. That's no shade to adapting things from movies and television shows, but we also need new original work. And we're starved for it. Like, people who love art are starved for it. So thank you for doing this.
My gosh, thank you for being such a champion of it, Robert, as an artist yourself, but also someone who supports and gives literal and figurative platforms for artists who are creators, in the trenches, in the arena, as Theodore Roosevelt says. It was something very important for Ashley and me that we create something original, but also something that showcases what we love about art and theater. Ashley Jana is, she's a force. She's written lots of pop hits, but maybe people may not know that it's her. And she's really stepped into her own, like our heroine in our story, Sienna. Ashley's definitely stepped into her bliss. She has this beautiful way of fusing together music theater with a pop, yet also orchestral sensibility. When I hear this score, it gives me, and it has given other people, friends of mine who have listened to it, this kind of, they say Greatest Showman meets Phantom of the Opera vibe with like a touch of Tim Burton. It's like a little askew. It's a little dissonant. And I'm really proud of it, Robert. But again, it's a testament to just putting it out there. Again, something I love to tell students all the time is, get out of your own way sometimes, create the thing, and let other people decide what they want to take from it. And from that, Robert, who would have thunk that after just a little bit of time being put out there into the world that, West End is already, interested in putting it up. It is happening in London in early 2025. And also the messaging of it. And I want to circle back, if it's cool, even though I didn't create it. I am so proud to be the director of White Rose, a show that is unfortunately timely. You are so good with the links, Robert. Like, I don't even see your hands. Like, you're just like, are you doing it with your eyeballs?
It's toes. It's feet. No,
Will stop directing and just focus on what you're saying. Okay.
WhiteRoseMusical.com is what we're talking about. So go there. Go.
I can't. I love it. I have to forget that also people aren't going to be watching this as well. So I have to just keep talking, Robert. Do you like how I speak to myself in the third person?
Great. I want you to direct my whole life. Go ahead. Please. My finances and everything. Go ahead.
Oh my God. You're so funny. So White Rose, an unfortunately timely message, but Robert, it has been moving people. And look at this beautiful image. It's a beautiful image. It's kind of like a Banksy take on our heroine, Sophie Scholl, a real life portrait of Sophie Scholl. And the way that this has been affecting not only students and teachers, but these were German students who spoke out against Hitler's lies.
Yeah.
The Jewish community centers in New York and older Jewish people, sons and daughters of Holocaust survivors, coming up to company members and creatives after the show, the students wanting to know more. So many people in the United States do not know who the White Rose were. They're heroes in Europe. In Germany, they have streets and buildings named after them. So to be a part of not only a show, Robert, but what I've noticed over these past 3 months, a movement. And even though we're ending our limited run, we've always been set to end on March 31st. This album that I get to produce with two-time Grammy and Tony Award winner Charlie Rose and Pinch Me Moment, along with the incredible people at Yellow Sound Label. Special shout out to Van Deen, Michael Kreuter, and our incredible executive producer, Jeff Laurinaitis, and this score by Natalie Bryce, book and lyrics by Brian Belding. I'm very excited about the next steps for this one, Beyond New York.
Yeah, me too. And I got the chance to see it. And we did interviews for this show here. And what a beautiful, and it is as relevant as ever. I mean, these stories, all of these stories that are coming back about the World War II and the Holocaust, we are living a time where we need to be reminded of humanity and equality and all of those things. And that's what this work is so special. So the album, there is an album, this score will be immortalized. This album is going to come out.
It is, yeah. We're looking at the second or third week of April, maybe even sooner, but most likely second, third week of April, along with, in this company, like you said, Robert, when I was casting this with our incredible casting director, Daryl Eisenberg of Eisenberg and Beans Casting, it was very important that we cast this as if it were, doing an open-ended run on Broadway.
Yeah.
We only wanted the best of the best. And yes, we have our big Broadway talents. Yes, we have some amazing television, film talents.
Yeah.
But I always love finding those new talents, those, I love that idea of, giving people their like Barbra Streisand and funny girl moment. And it's just been such a beautiful experience because the company of actors are not only incredible talents, but more than anything, and the number one thing that I look for when I want to work with anyone is are they kind? And are they able and willing to go into the sandbox with this best idea wins mentality and play? And everyone from the cast to the creative to production to general management, it's been a dream. It's been an absolute dream.
Well, if you can still get a ticket, you should get a ticket and go from when the people that we've had, if it's Mike or Pablo or Sam Gravett, like these are people who are big, giant Broadway television film stars, but their humanity on stage and the story that's told every single night is the star. Their talent is at the forefront of this show, and you gave them quite the lovely canvas and space to be able to tell this story. And I know you'll do the same with Figaro when it heads over to London. Are you going to be there? You're leaving? How long is your commitment to be out there?
Well, I can't say quite yet, Robert. I wish I could give you more of an exclusive, but
no.
I will definitely be heading over most likely this summer. Even though, because most of my meetings, with a lot of these people in London have been over Zoom. I'm a very old school, maybe it's the Italian Robert, old school in-person sensibility. So I really want to meet a lot of the team that I haven't met yet this summer before we really start to head into full-on pre-production. And I'm excited that, people can kind of, check out my socials or the Figaro socials, any updates within the coming weeks. I can't with you. The IG handle came up on the screen, folks. I did not see, you didn't even blink.
Magic. Will Nuns official. Go to Instagram. Will WILLNUNZ official. Just go follow him right now.
I didn't want to be one of those people, Robert, that had like official in their handle, but someone hacked my account like 2 years ago. Is that when you know you made it? When
You
you've
made
been
it.
hacked?
You're a star. Well, you know how you know you didn't make it? When you have to be Robert M. Bannon because someone in Idaho has Robert Bannon and they have 4 followers and they've never posted and they don't respond when you say, "Can I please have my name back?" So we'll be Robert M. Bannon.
What's your middle name?
Michael, like a good little Italian boy.
If it wasn't Michael, it'd be Joseph, which
That's
is
it.
my middle name and my husband's name and my father's name. Hello, therapy.
There you go.
Time out. So yes, White Rose is going on through March 31st. Figaro, an original musical, is happening early 2025 on the West End. And other projects, I had a beautiful pandemic project, Robert, and I'm only mentioning it because I know that you have a lot of young listeners out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wanted to direct film. And it was because of this idea that I had of creating a film about what is going inside the head of the centerpiece of Pablo Picasso's The Old Guitarist painting. If people are familiar with it, it's basically of this old guitarist that was painted during Pablo Picasso's Blue period. And it was during the pandemic, I had a dream, to quote Mama Rose, and I had a dream of my dear friend of 30 years, Dominic Chianese, also known to many as Uncle Junior in The Sopranos. He was in Godfather Part 2. But if you do a side-by-side photo of the old guitarist and Dominic, I mean, there is a resemblance, but I called Dominic up. He happens to live in London, and he happened to be coming to New York for like 2 days. This was back when I called him in winter of 2022. We shot it in 2 days, no, 1 day in summer of 2022. I just wanted to do it as like a proof of concept, Robert.
Uh-huh.
And it was really Dominic and also my 2 other cast members, the incredible Mike Cefalo and Aiden Sky, who said, well, you really need to submit this to film festivals. I was like, really? And so lo and behold, the 6.5-minute film, I don't know how. I now have like an IMDb account. How does that happen? Like it won like 14 different short film awards. Why I'm saying this is because you just never effing know. Yeah. Create the thing and let other people decide. And it was such a beautiful like experience for me as an artist to realize, oh my God, I can do it. But more than that, it's just proof to any artist out there. If you have an idea, don't keep it to yourself. Even if it's just for a group of friends over a glass of wine and, or you want to put it out there in a festival. What's the worst that a festival can say? No. Right. And so anyway, I say that because I know you have young listeners, and I just want to say that it was because of that experience and the other artists working on it that said, Will, just, submit that. It's given me really a fire under my belly to create more film. So anyway, I'm off my little soapbox.
No, you're not. What I've always said, and this show is a prime example of what you're saying, is that for so many years, as were you, young performers trying to get through high school, trying to go through college, to fit in, to break through this nasty business where, you're going to non-equity calls and you're doing summer stock in, Oklahoma somewhere, and you're trying to make a living. And at some point, you don't have to wait for everyone to say yes and to be accepted. You just go out there, make your own yes, make your own project, and then watch what happens. Like the work begets work. So
look what you've done, Robert. Build it, they will come, to quote Fields of Dreams.
Like you.
Will.
Like us.
Damn few.
Who's like us? Damn few. And look, that concept, it might have taken 40 years to recoup its investment, but it did. And and maybe 40 years from now, who knows what Will be doing? He'll be at the Academy Awards. He'll have shows on Broadway and the West End. He'll be putting out more work, giving more artists work and jobs to do. And that's really God's work, Will, is, creating a space where people can use their talents and creativity to put forth a message and an important theme and story and lesson that we need to do. Because as artists, that's what history will remember. It's going to be the show they saw, the movie they watched. And that's what you're doing.
Well, that means a lot, Robert. And, I want to thank you for providing a safe space, not only as an incredible artist yourself, an incredible host, an incredible actor, singer, an incredible teacher, those amazing students in Jersey. But at the end of the day, to go back to your initial question, leaving the whole singing portion of my life, and who knows, I might return.
I'm ready.
I always have like silly dreams of returning as like this like older character actor. I like to say like maybe I have like my Gary Beach days ahead of me, but who the hell knows? But I always wanted to, and I think you can agree with this too for yourself, Robert, because look at what you've created here with your show. I always wanted to create a safe space for other artists to feel like they have their own figurative downstage center Carnegie Hall moment, if that makes sense. To be able to, whether it's for an off-Broadway show, whether it's West End, whether it's film, whether it's a rehearsal hall that's no bigger than, a 2x4 wood slab, that to remind people that we are all artists and that we all have the opportunity every day when we get up in the morning to create and to look at the possibilities. And you get it as a teacher, Robert. I feel like what I do, whether I'm directing or writing, creating, whatever, I feel like it's the teacher in me. So I want to thank you for what you do, Robert. And you put such a beautiful light out there in a business that sometimes tends to, unfortunately, feed off of the dark. But there are bright lights like you, Robert, that have come out of this pandemic especially, that really provide a conversation place in peace where we can activate the little 11-year-olds like me and you who just wanted to be a part of it, New York, and to say, oh my gosh, I want to be like Robert. I want to, I don't know, be like Will, but so I just want to thank you.
No, we need to be like Will. Yeah, I want to thank you because it is I really, that means like boohoo cry really means a lot to me. And I just hope that the people watching that want to do this, I spent my whole life trying to be who I'm not, and then finally things started to happen when I finally was just who I was. And I wish I learned that at 11. I wish I learned that so much earlier, because I would have been an artist earlier, or more fearless, or taken more chances. I think we're so afraid, and I don't want people to wait till they're 40 like me. I want people to do it, do it now, do it right now. And what you did and what you've created and what you do for your students and for your actors is beautiful. So I'm excited to see all of the work. I'm ready to support you, root for you, cheer you on, and we're waiting and ready for it.
Well, I'm excited to be cheering and rooting for you too, Robert. And I thank you so much for having me today.
Go to FigaroMusical.com. I know he loves this work on the screen. Go to WhiteRoseMusical.com and follow Will on Instagram right now so you can stay up to date. Make sure if you're going to be in the West End, or if you're going to be in New York, go see White Rose till the end of the month, and then go get ready for tickets to see Figaro Musical when it hits London. Will, it's so nice to meet you via the.
I feel like I know you, Robert, but again, that's your way. You have that way about you. Thank you.
And like I told him, everyone who watched us do our interviews over at the Vineyard Gala, Will was there on the other side of the room, and I saw Will, and then I was like, he's not going to know who I am because I'm just a little face on the little Instagram. So you were there talking to guests, and you were there as a guest. Well, we were here over in the pit with all of the other reporters just trying to get an interview. And next time, Will, I'm going to give you a big giant hug. That's it.
I can't wait. Please do, Robert. And again, thank you again for all that you do.
Appreciate it. Back at you. Thank you so much.